Coming up on this edition of the newsfeed, Democrats around the country go to the polls to choose a nominee for president. The results both nationally and here at home in the New River Valley are next.
Plus, the Roanoke Airport is asking for your help. Find out why, coming up.
And storm drains aren't what most of us think when we think of art. Find out which New River Valley community is changing that, just ahead.
All that and more, next on this edition of the newsfeed.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this edition of the newsfeed. I'm Aubrey Medina.
And I'm Isaac Poe. Breaking news at the top of our show, AP is reporting that Mike Bloomberg has dropped out of the presidential race. Yesterday was Super Tuesday when 14 states and 1 U.S. territory went to the polls in the Democratic presidential primary.
This map shows you the results of each of the 14 states as of 10 a.m. on Wednesday, March 4th. The states in light gray have not yet voted, but the states in dark gray show you the states that voted before Super Tuesday. Former Mayor Pete Buttigieg won Iowa, though he dropped out of the race earlier this week. In New Hampshire, Mayor Buttigieg and Senator Sanders tied for delegates. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders easily won in Nevada, and this past weekend, former Vice President Joe Biden dominated in South Carolina. As for yesterday, you can see that Senator Joe Biden did very well in the southern states, while Sanders won his home state of Vermont and these 2 states in the west.
Each state designates delegates to the Democratic National Convention that will be held this summer. The states that had the most delegates up for grabs were California, which is still too close to call, Texas, where Joe Biden pulled off a surprising victory, North Carolina, where Joe Biden also won, Massachusetts, also won by Biden, and our own very Commonwealth of Virginia, where Biden also pulled off the victory. In Tennessee, Biden also won the primary vote. However, early Tuesday, Central Tennessee suffered terrible storms with strong tornadoes, killing dozens of people, disrupting the primary election in a number of towns and precincts.
But not all states have finished their vote counting. California and Maine, in red, are still too close to call. Regardless, Joe Biden now leads the delegate count.
Here in Virginia, Vice President Biden won with just over 53% of the vote. Next was Bernie Sanders in second with 23%. Senator Warren finished in third with 11%, and Mike Bloomberg came in with 10% of the vote.
Closer to home in the New River Valley, Joe Biden has won Montgomery County, Giles County, Pulaski County, and Radford City. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders wins the primary in Floyd County.
Meanwhile, on the Republican side, the GOP did not hold a vote yesterday in Virginia. Instead, the state Republican Party is expected to formally nominate President Donald Trump at the state party convention in early May. President Trump is expected to easily win enough delegates nationally to be the party's official nominee for the general election on November 3rd.
Meanwhile, if all politics are local, it doesn't get much more local for Virginia Tech students than student government elections. Candidates for the student government executive ticket gathered at Haymarket Theater for a debate on student priorities, including mental health, climate change, and inclusivity. The 2 highest roles in the SGA are the president and vice president. The positions are elected annually by the student body. This year, 3 pairs ran for the executive seats. The Student Government Association is the representative body for all undergraduate students at Virginia Tech. SGA Chief Justice Ali Schrant is responsible for making sure the voting process is fair and that students' turnout is strong.
I feel like a lot of people don't really know about SGA's role in the entirety of college at Virginia Tech. So I think that the turnout was much better this year than it was last year, but I think it could be a lot better.
Students submitted their votes last Friday, but the judicial branch of the SGA has to work through rule violations before a winner can be announced. According to Chief Justice Schrant, the winning executive ticket will be declared by the end of this week.
On to other news, local nursing students are taking access to healthcare into their own hands. Radford University's nursing program sponsored a community health fair for New River Valley residents. The event took place at the Christiansburg Recreation Center and drew several hundred attendees. Local health-related organizations were featured at booths around the rec center and offered information and pamphlets to those interested. Residents were offered yoga demonstrations, flu shots, skin checks, blood pressure readings, and other screenings. Door prizes, games, and complimentary food were available. By making it fun for the whole family, Radford University Nursing hopes that events like these will increase access to healthcare in underserved areas and older populations. Remind yourselves and others to stay on top of regular health screenings for everyone's safety.
After an almost 9% increase in air traffic in 2019, one local airport is starting to plan for the future and asking the community for help. Newsfeed reporter Isabella Rossi has the story.
The Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport's newest master plan is about to take off. But first, they're asking for community input.
And what these forecasts do is they set milestones that if we achieve those milestones, we'll need to, if we have enough passengers, add more gates. If we have enough aircraft based at the airport, we're going to want to add new hangars to accommodate those.
The airport worked with the Access Advertising and PR Agency to plan a series of public meetings to teach community members about the master plan and where attendees can share their ideas and opinions. The first meeting was held February 25th in Roanoke.
And that is just an opportunity for citizens, business owners, government officials, anybody who is interested to come out and learn about the master plan and offer their feedback and opinions about what's important to them for their airport to consider as it tries to grow.
The ideas in the master plan are mostly long-term projects that won't begin for several years, but the airport is making changes now to help passengers avoid unnecessary turbulence after the plane lands.
We have broke ground and we're about halfway finished with completing a new consolidated rental car facility. So we'll move the counters out of the terminal, put those in their own building next door, and then it'll have a dedicated parking lot.
The second public meeting will be held in August in the New River Valley. Reporting from Roanoke, this is Isabella Rossi.
After winter break, students returning to Virginia Tech's Math Emporium may have noticed some greener changes. Newsfeed reporter Elise Rosigliano has the story.
The installation of new lighting in the Math Emporium may seem like a simple change, but one Virginia Tech student plans for it to make a much bigger impact. The Green RFP program gives students at Virginia Tech the opportunity to propose and receive funding for sustainability initiatives. Once a proposal is approved, it is typically funded and implemented on campus that same academic year. In its 10 years as a program, over $1 million has gone to funding the projects. Last year, one of the biggest initiatives involved environmentally friendly changes to the Math Emporium.
The signature proposal that was approved was the relamping and upgrading of the HVAC system, heating and air at the Math Emporium. So the lighting part of that was about $194,000. The HVAC upgrades with programmable thermostats and a rebalancing of the system, that was about maybe 10.
Lighting in the Math Emporium has not been updated in almost 25 years. The previous lighting and HVAC systems wasted energy by staying on 24/7. Now, the LED lights dim when zones are inactive and the thermostats are controllable. These improvements to the space were proposed by Virginia Tech senior Daniel Webb through the Green RFP program.
Being able to say, I guess I did something on campus that will have a lasting impact and help with the goals of the university to save energy, save money, be better for the environment, things like that. It's definitely it's cool leaving campus knowing I've had a physical touch with something on campus like that.
The new LED lights and updated HVAC systems will not only make the Math Emporium a more comfortable space to work, they are energy efficient and expected to pay for themselves in just 2 years.
Meanwhile, the Trump administration is implementing new policies that reduce environmental protections. The Environmental Protection Agency rolls back federal protection for nearly half of all wetlands and millions of miles of streams. This move will drastically reduce the amount of U.S. waterways protected by the Clean Water Act, which was expanded by the Obama administration. Trump's Navigable Water Act aims to clean large water bodies like the Chesapeake Bay, but removes protections from streams and wetlands. Advisors from the EPA expressed concerns, saying these new plans conflict with established science. Without local protection, ecosystems like Strubles Creek and Blacksburg will be more prone to pollution from agriculture, mining, and development.
The issues with it, I think, is that it runs through some agricultural fields, and so there's the risk of agricultural waste runoff into the stream. But of course, if we're building over streams or wetlands, that completely decreases how many streams and wetlands are available to wildlife.
Although they may seem small, streams like Strubles Creek provide habitats for wildlife, filter pollutants, and protect against floods. By restoring the habitat along Strubles Creek, Blacksburg hopes to improve the health of the stream and the benefits it provides.
Students at Virginia Tech were inspired to do their part in restoring Strubles Creek. The Environmental Coalition at Virginia Tech held the second annual Big Plant on Saturday. Volunteers gathered on the drill field early morning Saturday to listen to speeches from the event coordinators before dividing into carpool groups to head to the planting location. Although there was snow on the ground, hundreds of students and community members came together to plant over 12,000 trees at Strubles Creek.
I've been collaborating with the president of the Strubles Creek Coalition, and he said that we have a really large stretch of Strubles Creek that's been on the federally impaired water body list since 2003, and he was like, they need tons of trees, there's tons of agriculture runoff that's getting in the stream all the time.
Students become more aware of environmental issues in the Blacksburg community. The Environmental Coalition expects registration numbers for the Big Plant to increase even more next year. A former thrift shop in Blacksburg has just completed its month of service. Newsfeed reporter Sean Torney has the story.
The Blacksburg Junior Women's Club and the YMCA at Virginia Tech teamed up to present the Cinderella Project, a prom dress and men's formal wear donation drive.
One thing that we realized is a need here is prom dresses and prom, and everything's so expensive, and we thought that we could really help in that area with the cost and have people donate used prom dresses and men's formal wear.
The drive took place at the YMCA thrift store on North Main Street in Blacksburg. Many underprivileged high schoolers were able to enjoy affordable formal wear for this year's prom.
I know of myself, I've seen several dozen come in this year. But the Blacksburg Women's Club, again, the Junior Women's Club, they brought in a lot of things too from donations. So I can't really answer the number except to say that our scope was quite large.
Although the Cinderella Project ended on March 1st, there will be more opportunities to participate, including a pop-up shop at Sharkey's in Radford later this month.
We take prom dresses and men's formal wear all year long. So if you want to donate anything, just bring it to the thrift shop at the Y on it's on Main Street, 1000 North Main Street in Blacksburg.
Reporting for the newsfeed, I'm Sean Torney.
Just ahead on the news feed, Habitat for Humanity teams up with Floyd Initiative for safe housing to make a difference in the community.
And the Virginia Tech Homecoming Board introduces new changes to this year's activities. That story and more after this break.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Hi everyone, Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that after 75 years, Smokey's only said,
"Only you can prevent wildfires."
But I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Welcome back to the news feed. I'm Aubrey Medina.
And I'm Isaac Poe. Local artists are working to turn storm drains into creative works of art.
The town of Blacksburg has started taking design applications for their 2020 Storm Drain Mural project. The project was started in 2018 and is designed to raise awareness to the impacts that pollution entering waterways through these drains has on water quality and the environment.
But a lot of Blacksburg and, like I said, many older developments have no treatment whatsoever. And so any chemical that is in the runoff, that it picks up from any type of surface, such as parking lots, will be transmitted or transported directly to the stream system.
Artists can choose to create their murals based on the town of Blacksburg's freshwater heritage, the protection of Strubles Creek, and the New River watershed's natural beauty, which might include local wildlife and healthy habitat. So far, there are 8 murals throughout downtown. One artist that participated in 2019 says that the process was educational to her too.
Well, I didn't know about Strubles Creek before. I didn't realize it was underneath the city. And so to learn that just city living affects what's underneath us directly was interesting to me.
Interested artists should submit designs by Friday, March 20th. Reporting from Blacksburg, I'm Kaylee Tony.
Housing affordability is a hot topic in the New River Valley, and one organization is addressing it in a surprising location. Habitat completed its first build in Floyd County in the summer of 2016. Now it and the Floyd Initiative for Safe Housing have secured over $600,000 to construct 7 more townhouses in the vacant lot next door. The townhouses will join their predecessor across from 308 Newtown Road. While most may not associate single stoplight Floyd with affordability issues, Susan Icove of Fish said that Floyd's small town feel and beautiful scenery make it a desirable home for many New River Valley commuters, driving up home prices. Icove said the project is a true group effort towards tackling this issue.
This is a project of community. This is where the Board of Supervisors, the town leadership, the realtors, the civic-minded folks all have come together to work, which is very unique, and I think something Floyd should be proud of.
Fish and the county are also seeking a $1 million grant for home repairs. Repair plans include trailers, which make up 22% of county housing and are often pushed past their suggested lifespan.
The student-run Homecoming Board at Virginia Tech has introduced new changes to next year's homecoming festivities. The Newsfeed's David Kelsey has the story.
Homecoming has been a Virginia Tech tradition since 1926. However, next year's homecoming will look quite different. The Virginia Tech Student Homecoming Board has changed the long-standing tradition of electing a homecoming king and queen. Starting this year, the Homecoming Board will now select 3 people in non-gender specific roles as homecoming royalty. The board believes that this new policy will increase student engagement and makes homecoming, quote, inclusive to all members of our community regardless of gender identity.
So it's something that they've been considering for a long time, and I know they're really excited because it's a new opportunity and it's going to provide a lot of new opportunities for people, and like a lot of more people are going to apply, and just really allow for people who are scared to apply before to have the chance to do it without any judgment or things like that.
This is the first change to the homecoming system since 2015, when each representative was forced to run on community service platforms. The Homecoming Board says that the new royalty system will put more emphasis on those cause-based platforms. And we actually reached out to this year's Homecoming Board, but they declined to comment on the new homecoming format. Back to you guys in the studio.
And that will wrap up this edition of the Newsfeed. If you have a story idea for the Newsfeed, let us know. Send us an email at thenewsfeednrv@gmail.com. And as always, you can also connect with the Newsfeed on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching. I'm Aubrey Medina.
And I'm Isaac Poe.